Hello friends and welcome back. It is June 2nd. It is Wednesday, my dudes. 2001. We're in the Garden State of New Jersey. And it's time for my garden update. So if you guys haven't seen April and May's update, give it a check. Check it out on my channel. But we have a lot of work to do in the garden today. It's a little cloudy out, so hopefully the weather will hold out long enough. But we got a big long list of stuff to do. We're gonna harvest some strawberries. We're gonna harvest some peas today. We're going to trim back some and stake some tomatoes. We're gonna put out some mulch. We got a whole lot of stuff to do today. So hopefully you stick around, you can relax, pour yourself a beverage, and just hang out with me while I work on my garden today. Alright, well, first things first. We're going to go plant by plant just like we did in all of our other updates, but I'm also going to do some small jobs along the way. But so this is our strawberry. It's got some beautiful fruit. The fruit actually looks a little bit overripe in some places. I've actually been kind of holding off on collecting it so you guys can see it in the video, but we still got plenty of fruit coming, all that green stuff up there. Big juicy ones. Can't wait. And this is our second plant here. Got some other big fruit. Look at these beautiful strawberries. Just waiting to be plucked. Surprisingly, I don't think the birds have got to it too much, so we're gonna, some of these are a little dimpled. Some of that dimpling is from inconsistent watering, and that's normal. Especially when you're in pots, it's kind of difficult sometimes to get, very consistent watering, so. Sorry if you hear that mumbling in the background, that's my air conditioner. In fact, I might turn it off just for the video. So I'm going to come back and we're going to cut some of these and so there you go, a whole cup of strawberries just from one afternoon of harvesting from, 2 pots with 6 plants in them, and there's plenty still left on the vine. So I highly recommend growing strawberries in pots. It's super easy, and man, I wish you could smell these. Like, they are like the most pungent strawberries you've ever smelled. Like, they just have like this deep strawberry smell to them. Oh man. Alright, I think I'm actually gonna take a little snack break and then we'll move on. Well, just after my strawberry break, the sun decided to come out, and it's just a beautiful day. It's like in the 70s, it's breezy. The birds are out. Gardening gives you a chance to get outside and just enjoy these things that you don't normally get to enjoy. So, you don't often get to just appreciate. You sit outside and look at the trees, and it's just nice being outside. All right, let's move on. Since we're in harvest mode here and we just harvested a bunch of strawberries, we're also going to harvest a bunch of peas. So the peas have come in. We did it. Look at these guys. They're just beautiful. They're huge. This one is a monster. I mean, if you let them sit for long enough, they get so big that they give you seeds. So the longer they sit, the kind of less flavorful they kind of get. So right now is a good time probably to start harvesting these. The other thing is you want to routinely harvest these, because the more you harvest, the more fruit you will get. So we are going to, man, look at all these. I mean, I got enough fruit for days here. That's one that's just coming in right there. I'm so proud of these. I'm going to be growing peas probably like just every day of my life. Every season of my life I'm going to be growing peas because I just think they're so fun. Alright, let's set up the camera and let's start harvesting. Here we go. A bowl of peas from 4 buckets. I mean, and there's plenty of peas left on this thing. I mean, like, I probably harvested maybe a third of the peas because I felt like some of them were too small to harvest, but they're gonna keep growing. I'm already seeing a couple that I missed actually. But I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, that's a pretty nice bowl of peas from one harvest. I'm super happy with that. That is so cool. So the plan is with these, I'm going to continue to let them grow. I'm probably going to harvest them maybe one more time, maybe 1 or 2 more times, but I want to leave some on that get really big so I can collect the seeds and replant them hopefully in August so I can get a second crop. A couple things I've noticed. Number one, I'm starting to get a little bit of yellowing and dieback on the bottom parts of the branches. I think that's a combination of a couple things. I think number one, they have been inconsistently watered, so I think some more consistent watering and also some mulching will help with that. Number two, I think they are a little bit overcrowded, just slightly. I mean, they're still beautiful and bountiful, and we're getting, you know, look at this, all these peas. But I think probably, I have 10 plants in each of these, except for this one, which has 5 plants. I think the magic number is 8. I think I put 2 in the middle of each ones, and I think none of those middle ones really came up well. Most of them have died back. So I think 2 by 4 for 8 plants total will probably be like the optimum if I do it again in these pots. And also, direct seeding obviously works way better than transplanting. Peas do not like to be transplanted out. I grew this bucket on the windowsill, if you remember, and I grew these 3 buckets on directly in in buckets, directly in the soil. So these grew much better than this one did. So I feel like 8 of them next time, directly sown into the buckets and watered consistently. So, but yeah, pretty cool, huh? Another cool thing I forgot to point out. This is not a pea plant. This is a potato plant. So I think I used this bucket last year for potatoes, and I forgot to harvest one, I guess, and it sprung up as a potato. So I'm kind of just gonna let it go. It's what we call a volunteer plant. You know, they're volunteering themselves. You know, but I don't think they're really getting in the way of the peas, and the peas are nitrogen fixators, so they're actually kind of symbiotic. So you know, so hopefully might get a couple potatoes out of this pot too. I think that's pretty cool. Continuing the tour, these are 2 dahlias that I bought for my wife, and she planted out into pots here. So dahlias are interesting because they grow as tubers, kind of similar to, remember what the peony looked like. But then, like, literally within 2 weeks, I think we put these out like exactly March 15th maybe, or something like that, or even later. I think it was like a week later. So within like maybe a week or 2 of growth, these things have gone from basically down to the ground to all this growth that you're seeing already. So dahlias, this is a red dinner plate dahlia, and it's going to be huge. It's going to get really big with really pretty flowers. We're really excited about that. Moving on down the row here, making some noise here. This is my lemon tree. So my lemon tree, which I thought was dead or not doing very well, has kind of exploded in growth in like the last week. So I think it's going to have a really nice summer out here. You see all this new growth at the top? It's looking happy, it's looking healthy. A couple weeds here that got to get pulled. But got heading back here too. But yeah, that's all new growth. I think it was only about this tall when I planted it out. All this is new. So it's almost doubled in size just from being out here in the summer. So hopefully by August, September, before the last frost or first frost, we should get a lot of growth out of this thing. This thing should stabilize its roots, get nice and healthy. So yeah, that'll be cool. Now these are the oregano. So, still smells delicious. But if you can see, some of the kind of corners around the outside died a little bit on some of these, but I am getting some new growth. You can see those brighter plants, those brighter leaves. So I let this like dry out one day because I thought that's oregano is tough, right? And it did not do very well. So just one day of drying it out almost killed it. So, but thankfully with aggressive watering, we've been able to get it back. So these guys like water. I mean, even though they're Mediterranean plants, they really like water. So I think they're kind of more alpine. So, they need free draining soil certainly, but they do like to be watered. So I would water them pretty regularly if you got them. The oregano. So the other thing too is, smaller pots generally dry out so much quicker than bigger pots like these guys. So if you're going to be growing like, oregano or something that you want to last the whole season, I recommend getting like 2 or 3 plants and putting them in like one bigger pot rather than putting 3 plants in smaller pots, because that's just going to dry them out and we don't want that. So all right, let's get up here. And of course, the big boy hosta just kind of sitting on its side, just kind of enjoying this little corner perch back here in the shade. Hopefully this thing will start flowering soon. So this last year has some beautiful purple flowers, which happened in the summer. So yeah, so I am excited to show you that when that happens. But look at this thing, it just kind of exploded in this pot. It can barely fit in this pot. Barely, it's just like exploding out of it, but I love it. It's one of my favorite plants on here. So this is my azalea. It has finished flowering, unfortunately, so it didn't last long enough to make it to the June update. I'm sorry, but so May is definitely its month. I think that tends to go for a lot of azaleas, though. I think most azaleas are mid to late spring flowering, and usually don't last too far into the summer. So part of my job today is we're going to deadhead this, so I'm going to pull off a lot of the dead flowers. I'm not going to film that, I'll just show you the finished product when we're done. So let me just get to work on that. Well, moving right along here, this is our peony plant. I'm very upset that I can't show you guys some flowers here. Honestly, I think it still would be flowering right now, except for the fact that a storm came along and just blew all the flowers off of it. So they were nice, big, beautiful flowers. Which is kind of a shame, but that's okay. We are getting some seed pods, it looks like, though. These look like seed pods. So, it might be able to, grow this thing from seed. And duplicate it and grow a couple more of them. But that'll be really cool. So much to my surprise, the lettuce, despite the heat, is actually doing very well. We got a bunch of new growth here. This will be the 4th time I think I've harvested it. So yeah, I think we're gonna have another salad tonight. I got a bowl here. It's actually a salad spinner bowl because I bought a salad spinner because of this project here. But yeah, cool. So let me set up the camera and we'll cut some of these and go from there. Salad bowl. Got at least enough for dinner tonight. So yeah, I highly encourage you to grow your own lettuce. It's super easy. It'll take about 10 minutes. You can grow it in pretty much anything. And you get a whole fresh salad for dinner, which we're gonna have some fresh pea pods today too. So pretty cool. Okay, just a quick tour of some of these other guys over here, and then we'll move on to the tomatoes. These are my sunflowers, and they have just gotten incredibly tall. And they're still putting out growth on top. And you can see all this fresh growth up here. This is the guy I knocked over earlier, but he's still strong. I'm gonna, you know, shore him up a little bit, give him all some water. This one I actually grew. I'm gonna move this strawberry out of the way real quick. This one I actually grew from seed as well, but it was in like a little tray and I just forgot to plant it because I didn't have a pot. So that was an old mint pot that I repurposed, and it's already catching up to its bigger brothers. So that's pretty cool. Move this guy back up here. Yeah, so these are all going to be huge sunflowers with really dark red leaves, so I'm very excited about that. Moving on to the elderberry. Elderberry continues to become monstrous. I mean, I just can't even keep up with it. Every time I come out here, it's grown up another like 2 inches. It's just got like endless new growth at the tops of all of the stems here. It's just incredible how big this thing gets and how quickly it gets so big. So I still have not seen any evidence of flowers yet. We still got a long season though, so we'll see what it looks like in the July update and the August update. See if we can start collecting some flowers to make some liqueur. Here are my peppers. These were all started from seed inside in a little plastic hothouse thing on the windowsill. All looking pretty good. My plan is eventually to cut these back to one plant each. I'm still not ready to do that because I think they have plenty of room right now and they're still kind of doing their thing. Eventually though, I definitely want to grow these out and cut them down to one plant per pot because they're still pretty tiny. But they have a long growing season, peppers. I don't expect to even begin to see peppers probably until August. So we got at least 2 months probably of just you know, taking care of them. I think the most important thing with these guys is to keep them well watered. So they're definitely going to get some mulch today to kind of keep them watered, but we'll talk about mulching later in the video. All right, tomato update. I don't even know if you guys saw these last time, but we planted all these tomatoes out, me and my brother. There's some pictures on Twitter if you want to check it out. But, you know, I started these guys as seeds. These are the Roma tomatoes in the front, the lighter green ones. In the back are a variety called Rutgers. They are the New Jersey quote-unquote tomato, but they are determinate, so they are bush variety. All these are bush variety, so therefore they should grow in pots easier than the other ones. It's just incredible. Like, you know, I came out yesterday, and this thing was not nearly as long. I mean, it's already climbing up over to the Romas. So the Romas are 3 plants right now, and the tomatoes are only 1 plant. So the 3 plants are definitely too much for 1 pot. So today we're going to cut them back into the strongest one, and then we're going to stake all of them. So let's get started. The first Roma. Man, I can't even tell which one was which. I don't know if this is good. They're all healthy plants. I don't know, I'm starting to have second guesses if I should even mess with it. What do you think about it? I've decided I'm going to do it. I've built up the nerve. This one looks like the strongest. It's got some very nice side branches here, and it's got the thickest stem. These guys are a little less thick and have less branches on the side. So yeah, I'm gonna cut these down, and we're just gonna leave this main one. So, oh man, give me strength. Oh man. Timber. Oh, that was painful, guys. But here we go. One healthy looking Roma. Congratulations, you are the victor. To the victor go the spoils. So this is Roman number 2. This one looks much more easy to identify which is the strongest one, which is clearly this one. These two are also healthy looking, but they are smaller. And the stem for this one appears thicker. So we're going to cut off these two. There you go. So this is Roman number 3, and honestly, for the sake of science, I'm going to leave it as is. So the other two are trimmed up and looking prim and proper. This one I'm just going to leave the 3 plants in the pot, or I think there's 4 actually. They all seem to be kind of similar in strength and quality. You know, it's it's the same size pot as the other 2. So I think we're going to mulch it, and then we're just going to compare them. I'm going to stake them, obviously, and we're going to compare the output from these 2 and compare them to this one. One interesting thing you can tell already is that it looks like the center one dries out quicker than the other 2. I'm not exactly sure if that's just because of positioning or whatever, but it's just the clouds are coming back. Alright, so for my next test today is we're going to take a lot of my plants, and we're going to be adding a mulch to them. So the mulch will help protect the soil, help retain moisture, and help things grow, especially now that it's getting hot. So it gets so hot here on my deck, especially with small containers. It's very easy for water to evaporate, and as a result, soil nutrients to also evaporate out, and you lose a lot of the fertility of the soil that way. So what mulch does is it adds a heavy layer to the top of the pots, and it helps them retain moisture a little bit easier so they can be more evenly watered, and it helps protect the root systems as well. So I'm actually not going to film all of this, but I'm going to be adding mulch to a lot of my plants, my peas, the tomatoes, and probably the sunflowers as well. Just going to show you the process real quickly. A handful of mulch. And we just spread it around. That's it. Now my one concern is I think pine mulch might be slightly acidic, so we'll see how that affects the plant. I know this is kind of haphazard filming, but I'm trying to do this with one hand, so forgive me. There you go. See, it doesn't require much, just enough to just kind of mulch off the top of the plant and then help it retain moisture. Alright, so 2 down, about 1,000 to go. Alright, that was tougher than expected. But I mulched every single plant. Well, not every single one, but most of them. Even the big guy here got some mulch. We mulched up the peppers up here. So just to recap, what mulch does is it keeps moisture down in the soil, especially in the very, very hot days, because it keeps the level of topsoil shaded. So it's not exposed to direct sunlight, so it's much harder for water to evaporate from the deep soil. Very important, especially in pots and in vegetables in the summer, especially on a hot deck like mine, which can easily exceed 100 degrees easily. The other thing that's nice about mulch is that it breaks down over time, so it actually kind of turns into compost like when it sits there long enough. So it's not the best thing to grow in because the particles are too big. I'm also a little bit suspicious about pine being slightly acidic, but tomatoes do like acid. So do azaleas, which by the way I mulched the azalea too. So I think slightly acidic soil, which is, New Jersey is the Pine Barrens after all, and I think it's actually, southern New Jersey where I live. It is closer to mimicking, you know, natural environment when you use slightly acidic soil. So I'm hoping that these tomatoes will respond and we'll get some really nice tasting tomatoes out of it. So, and I mean, I'm so excited about these sunflowers too when they start to flower. All right, so the next step on my long garden day is to stake the tomatoes. So let's get working on staking. Nicely staked. And it wouldn't be a complete garden update video without a look at the shade garden out front. So my wife did a really good job of trimming all these down. I don't know if you remember last time, but they were spilling out onto the sidewalk. So we trimmed them all out pretty good. But I don't remember if I showed you this, guys, last time or not. But so this is a rose tree, a rose plant. It's a David Austin rose, which is he's like a pretty famous rose breeder in England. But he's got a whole bunch of varieties of roses that he sells in the United States as well. And this one is one that I watched on an episode of Gardener's World a very long time ago, and I was like, man, one day I want to grow that rose because it's just beautiful. It's actually called a Queen of Sweden rose, and they had it on sale and they were shipping to New Jersey, so I jumped on it. It was about $30 for the rootstock, so a little bit more expensive than most of the plants that I've played for, but you know, it's already starting to get a bunch of leaves. This was a bunch of sticks when I planted it, like at the end of May, so it's been like maybe a week or two. Maybe more like 2 to 3 weeks, but it's just growing excellently. So I'm actually going to throw some mulch down, believe it or not. I think that'll help kind of protect it, help retain some moisture, and help it grow a little bit because of the beneficial like fungi and stuff in it. So yeah, let me just mulch this and then I think we'll be done. Well, another beautiful spring day. Actually now summer. I mean, if you consider summer starting after first day of Memorial Day, which I do. Memorial Day. Anyway, thanks for joining me today. It was a lot of fun, a lot of hard work today, but we got a lot of stuff done. You know, stick around. Hopefully you can follow me. And then starting on July 1st, we can see our update. So, yeah, I might give you some mini updates in between now and then, especially if we start getting some action on flowers here or sunflowers. But I still think we got another month left of growing. So I also have some other projects too. I'm thinking about getting rid of the salad once it starts bolting and replacing it with something else, like some beans, green beans maybe. But that remains to be seen. So until then, thank you so much. Stick around and I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching. See you next time.